Exec, el Exec, el Vele, el fenómeno que todos quieren ser, el chamaquito que no pueden entender.
How we doing, guys? Welcome to episode 166 of the Exec Talk Podcast. I am your host, Evelez Wassan. We made it. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Hit the comments and follow me on all my socials. We have officially made it. Playoffs. But also, we have made it to Black Monday. That was yesterday. Not a lot of people fired, but people got fired. And people got fired today. Doug Pederson, out of here. Antonio Pierce, out of here. Lou Anarumo, out of here. Gus Bradley, out of here. Carthon for the GM for Tennessee, out of here. Gerard Mayo, right after the game, fired. Yeah, you know, and there's some rumblings that maybe some more are coming. There's some rumblings that, you know, some people are getting talked to right now, but that's what's happening right now. As for the playoffs, they're set. And I can say with confidence that every game has some legit excitement attached to it. Every team that's in it has a chance to go further than what they are right now. I believe that. Just based on quarterback play, defense, stars. I believe that. And there is a legit 4 teams, I would say right now, 5 teams right now that can go all the way. Same 5 teams we'll be looking at all year. And then there's 2 wild cards that can possibly, not wild cards, but like 2 other teams that might run the table, that could run the table. All right. Supposedly, news came down, I don't know, something about 30 minutes ago. Zion is back. I got to check into, I got to look into that. Because, not because it's a giant deal, but because, I mean, their season is over. Like, they are so far behind. Their season is done. And we're not even to All-Star break. We're not even close to All-Star break. And their season is over. They should just go Cooper flag hunting or, you know, Harper. It's done. Okay? So that happened. Jimmy gets suspended for 7 games for being conduct detrimental to the team. Listen, if you bite the hand, it's going to hit you back. He bit the hand of the Godfather. You don't do that. There's a slap on the wrist. Now, he says he wants out. I believe him. Tyreek said he wanted out after the game. Supposedly they talked today, and he's fully invested. You know, Mike McDaniel said after the game, he was like, I won't take into consideration any frustration comments coming out of a tough, you know, a tough way to get out of the playoffs. You know, it is what it is. Do I think that, guys, if I'm being honest, as the things are looking now, no Florida sports team besides maybe the Florida Panthers, and I'm only giving them the benefit of the doubt because they won last year, and they've kind of been in it. I don't think any Florida teams are winning championships any time soon. Okay? Any time soon. Why do I say that? Well, football. We have Josh Allen for another 10 to 15 years, and now we got Drake May. Us and the Jets are not going nowhere. unless we find a legit quarterback and play tougher in the elements. Miami Heat. I love Heat culture and everything, but boy, we lack talent. All right, I'm looking at this Detroit team. I'm looking at this Houston team, but don't even talk about OKC. Like, I'm looking at this Knicks team, even this Bucks team, this Orlando team, and there is nothing for us. We might make it to the playoffs, be exciting, but we ain't winning shite, okay? We ain't winning shit. And then the Marlins are a just abhorrent dumpster fire. Appalling. Horrific. Just anything scary that you can think of is worse than that. There is no hope. Connor Norby probably going to get traded. Yuri Perez probably going to get traded. We already got rid of Jesus to the Phillies, right to our rival. Yes. No way in hell we are recovering, okay, as a franchise ever. 2003, 1997, those were good years. Good years, you know. We got to the promised land. We got two of them things. Some teams don't got none. So, you know, we got two. Be happy, but we're going to be shite for the rest of our lives. All right. College football playoff. We have 4 absolute staples. Okay? 4 absolute staples of college football meeting in the semifinals. Texas in Texas versus Ohio State. And then Penn State versus Notre Dame in Miami. I'm telling you right now, what the people want is Ohio State, Notre Dame. What it's looking like, based on how I'm looking at quarterbacks, teams, coaching, how they've played, even strengths of schedule. I'm looking at Ohio State versus Penn State. Will Howard versus Drew Adler. Travion Henderson and Quinshawn Judkins versus Nick Singleton and Katron Allen. Abdul Carter versus Jack Sawyer or JT Tumulau or Downs, wherever you want. Okay? That is what I'm looking at right now as if I had to pick the two teams that are going. Why? Very simple. There is no way that Texas can cover Jeremiah Smith or Emeka Egbuka, and their offense can be stymied if pressured, which Ohio State can do very well. On the other side, Drew Adler, to me, can pass better than Riley Leonard. Although Riley Leonard has thrown it a little bit more these past few games, it's nowhere near what he's going to need to keep up with. I think it's going to be a defensive game, but I think there's going to be big opportunities for big plays to Amari Adams and stuff like that for Drew Adler and Penn State. At the same time, Notre Dame got Jordan Faison, but Tyler Warren is on Penn State. I'm going to side with Tyler Warren. That's the number 1 tight end in the country. And also the number 1 tight end getting picked in the draft this year. Okay. MVP race. I know y'all haven't talked about this at all, okay, in depth. We're going to talk about not just MVP race. We're going to talk about Rookie of the Year. We're going to talk about Offensive Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year. Okay? Pro Bowls came out. I don't know if you guys care about Pro Bowls. Chris Jones made it again. Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, Nick Bosa, Justin Jefferson, Jamar. Your usual suspects. No Tyreek this year. No Patrick Mahomes. For the first time of him being a starter in the NFL, he's not in the Pro Bowl. He's not a starter in the Pro Bowl. He has some good stories here. People left out, but we're not here for the Pro Bowl. Okay, they don't even play the Pro Bowl anymore. The last Pro Bowl that was played real was the Sean Taylor Pro Bowl. R.I.P. MVP. Without looking at numbers, because I already have looked at the numbers over and over and over, this is going to come down to narrative, okay? Because if it was about the numbers, and if it was about history, and if it was about who had the better season, it's Lamar Jackson. No questions asked. First player ever with over 4,000 yards passing, 800 yards rushing. First player ever to do that. Broke the all-time record of Michael Vick of rushing for a quarterback this year. Fourth highest QBR in the history of the NFL behind Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers. Okay? And a 42-4 interception ratio. So efficient in the pocket, can run the shit out of the ball, doesn't turn over that much, and attacks down the field. Took the Ravens, yes, I understand, but he won the division. Because the Steelers suck, and I've been telling you this forever. Welcome to one and done. All right, now that that's on my chest. All right, then you go Josh Allen. Josh Allen has the narrative behind him. He's never won one. He's been at the top 3 of the quarterbacks the last few years. He brought this team that was not supposed to be good because they have no weapons. They got rid of everybody, and he got them to the 2nd seed. Listen, I get all that. I get all that. But one guy has 10 more touchdown passes than the other. And I believe, and I'm just going to check. Now we're going to go to stats because now it's important. Yards and stuff like that. Let's really see what's up. Okay? Let's see what's up. Let's go to Lamar. Lamar is at and finished with 4,172 yards, 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, a QBR of 77.5 out of 100. First in the league. Okay? Rushing. 800. 915. 4,100 and 900 rushing. Nobody's ever done it. With 41 touchdown passes and 4 picks. What are we really talking about here? What are we really talking about? What we're talking about here is we're going to go to Josh Allen, right? We're going to go to Josh Allen. And Josh Allen, where in the hell is this right here? Josh Allen. 3,731 yards. 28 touchdowns. 6 interceptions. Second in QBR, 77.2. Rushing. Okay, he had more TDs rushing. I know he had 11, I believe, is what he had. Okay, rushing, he had 531, 12 touchdowns. Okay, that's solid. That's solid. That's 40 touchdowns. 40. Nice. Lamar has you by 1 in passing and then 4 other ones rushing. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? What we're talking about, like I said, is narrative. Narrative. Oh, Lamar has 2. He won 1 last year. Yeah, but these stats are insane. This is not a normal season. You don't get 4,100 and 941 and 4 every other day, every other year. That does not happen. We complained that the MVP race last year was boring because they kind of just gave it to Lamar because everybody had a mediocre season. And now this season, you got some of the toughest decisions you got to make. My MVP is Lamar Jackson. I don't care. Once he won the division on Sunday and the way he won it, that's all I needed for me. Sunday clinched it for me. It clinched it. 1, he had to play. 2, he had something to play for. And 3, he left it all hang out. And even then, after the game, he said, we're not where we need to be yet. This is not how we need to play. He was right. They should have played a lot better. Still scored 35, though. Don't get it twisted. Nate Wiggins was part of that. So, 28. And Wiggins had a pick 6, first one of his career. Okay? So, between Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, my MVP is Lamar Jackson. I don't care if it's his 3rd. I don't care if it's another back. I do not give an F. The better season, whether he had a 1,900-yard rusher or not, was Lamar Jackson. Point blank, period. I'm sorry. Okay? I'm sorry. Another extremely hard decision. AP Offensive Player of the Year. And it's between 2 people for me. Because to me, this is not a quarterback award. If you don't win MVP and you're a quarterback, don't expect to win the AP Offensive Player of the Year. Nah, this is not for you. This is for the skill guys. Okay? And to me, there's 2 guys. 2 historic seasons. One that is the 5th all-time, and the other one's the 9th all-time. Saquon is a 2,000-yard rusher on the NFC's number 2 seed, led the league in touches, in rushing attempts, and was probably the most explosive player in the league. Okay? And the most, when you're watching him, oh my God, this guy's different. Redemption story, first year in Philly, but the downside to him is that he did not go for the record. If he would have broken the record, he would have been MVP. He wouldn't have been AP Offensive Player of the Year. Okay? That's the jump we're talking about. Now we're talking about maybe he not getting anything. Now, I do believe Saquon will get the award. I believe Saquon will get the award. However, Jamar Chase put up a Triple Crown. Now, the reason Jamar's not going to win it is because Jamar's team success was not the same as Saquon's. That's just what it is. But if I'm the committee, the AP voters, I hold not going for the record against Saquon. Because you could have done something that has only been, that you would have been the only one to do it. and instead you got 2,000 yards, and that's 9 people have done, including yourself. Jamar has done something that only 5 people have done, and that's a triple crown, the receiving triple crown. Catches, yards, touchdowns. What was his final stats? I'll tell you. Boy, were they good. Okay? The final stats for an incredible Hall of Fame year from Jamar Chase. 127 receptions. First. 1,708 yards. First. 17 touchdowns. First. Okay? 13.4 yards a catch, a reception. A long TD of 70. Okay? So, how do you put this into perspective? Well, how you put this into perspective, you go to his old friend Justin Jefferson. Now, Justin did not win the Triple Crown, but Justin did have more yards, I believe, that season when he did go AP Offensive Player of the Year with the 21 touchdowns, I believe it was. Let's see here. He's second. But Lamar blew him out the water. He's at 1,533. Lamar's at 1,700. And he blew him out the water with 23 more catches and 7 more touchdowns. Okay? That's this year. If we're talking about the year that he won Offensive Player of the Year, he had 1,809. Okay, 100 more yards than Jamar. And he had 128 catches, 1 more than Lamar. But he only had 8 touchdowns. Lamar has 17. Okay? So if 17 touchdowns, you take away 100 yards receiving and 1 catch, but 17 TDs, that's a compelling argument to me. And he played the last game. Yes, playoff was on the line and everything, but still, if I'm Saquon, I want that record. Not only for me, I want it for my team. Not only for my team, I want it for my legacy. And not only for my legacy, I want to give myself a shot to beat Adrian Peterson in 2012 and win an MVP as a running back for the first time in 14 years. Pass that up. Who knows? You might pass an AP Offensive Player of the Year up because of that too. It is tough right now. Tough. Defensive Player of the Year. Guys, nobody's had a wow season, okay, defensively. Kirby Joseph has 9 interceptions, yes. Trey Hendrickson has 17.5 sacks. But we don't have a Myles Garrett year. We don't have a TJ Watt year. We don't have a Nick Bosa year. We don't have a 20-sack person here. No, 17.5. That is what we got to this year. Personally, if you're asking about disruptive, it's still TJ Watt or Myles Garrett. If you're just talking about disruptive. If you're talking about production, and Pat Surtain. TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, Pat Surtain, that is disruptive in their respective skill sets. Corner, D-end. One comes off the left side a lot. The other one comes off the right side a lot. Pat travels. And then you have your leaders. You have your Kirby Joseph with 9 picks. You have your Trey Hendrickson with 17.5 sacks. So what do you do? In my opinion, this is just me. In my opinion, if you look at all those names, there is one guy who completely eliminates their side of the field, and their team is in the playoffs. TJ, you are in the playoffs. You already won one. And then, of course, Miles, you're not even close to the playoffs. Neither is Trey Hendrickson. The Bengals had the number one sack leader, the number one pass leader, and the number one receptions leader, and did not make the playoffs. That's what happens when you start off slow. 1-4. Not good. Okay? To me, I think Pat Surtain deserves it. I've seen him play all year. People don't want to throw to him. This guy scares people. He travels. He locks down your best guy. Like, to me, it's Pat's year. That's just me. I didn't see a lot from TJ. I didn't see the super monster shit from Myles Garrett. 17.5 sacks, that's cute. Kirby Joseph, he's a safety. Could he get it? Yeah, but not really a star. So I'm picking Pat Surtain. Offensive Rookie of the Year. Very tough. Well, you might say, well, Jaden, of course. Yes, I understand. But do you know the seasons that just happened? Brock Bowers will get nothing. Nothing. Maybe an All-Pro. For breaking the all-time receiving record of 60 years held by Mike Ditka as a tight end, as a rookie tight end. And the all-time reception record for any position. Breaking this man's life. Puka Nakua's last year. In my humble opinion, yes, you still have Malik Neighbors. I understand. In my humble opinion, it really is Jaden Daniels versus Bo Nix. And in my humble opinion, it really is Jaden Daniels. I love Bo. I love Brock. Listen, I wish that they can have an offensive rookie player of the year. Brock would probably win that. But they don't got that. So I think he's going to have to settle with an All-Pro, hopefully. He got him and Jaden got to a Pro Bowl. But I think a Pro Bowl, All-Pro is what he's going to be satisfied with. Because he's not getting... There's no way he's getting Offensive Rookie of the Year. I'm sorry. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Defensive Rookie of the Year. I'm either going Quinyon Mitchell, Jared Verse, that's about it. Quinyon Mitchell, Jared Verse. Both playoff teams. Both started all year. Both really good at what they do. I'm going to go with Jared Verse. I think he just showed more pop, even though Quinyon Mitchell barely got thrown to. But I think Jared Verse showed more oomph on the D-line. So I'm going to go with Jared Verse. Okay, let's get to these games. Browns-Ravens, 35-10. Like I said, Lamar said his, he's setting his sights on a Lombardi. He had to take care of the Browns right quick. That was easy. Bailey Zappi, 16 for 31, 170. DTR, 2 for 30. 2 for 3 for 13 yards. Just garbage. They couldn't run the ball. 19 for 56 as a team. Jerry Jeudy, 6 for 63. He could barely get open. Their defense gave them 0. Everything 0. Cleveland sucks. That's where their second pick. Okay. Lamar, 16 for 32, 217, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 92.8 rating. King Henry finishes 20 carries, 138 yards, and 2 TDs, all in the second half. Lamar ran 9 for 63 yards. King Henry finishes second in carries behind Saquon, 325 carries. 1,921 yards, almost another 2,000-yard season. He would have been the first player ever to do that. Also, he's the first player ever anyway to go over 1,800 yards in multiple, 1,900 yards in multiple seasons as a running back. And then tied for first in touchdowns, rushing 16. 5.9 yards a carry. Yeah, just dominant. That's the difference that the Ravens have going into the playoffs now. Now they have a guy that they legitimately, if they want to put the whole game plan on him, not saying that they would with Lamar, but if they feel like they really do have an advantage with the offensive line against any team and they just want to run them all game, they can do that. Rashad Bateman had 5 receptions, 76 yards, and a touchdown. Unfortunately, Zay Flowers is down with a knee. Does not practice today. The Ravens are unsure about his status. He just got clipped on the knee. One part of the knee went one way, one part of the leg went the other, and sprained his knee, is what they're saying. Okay, so we'll see what happens there. That's very important for next week. Their defense played great, 2 sacks. Roquan had 10 total tackles. Guy who's played great is Kyle Hamilton. He's going to be an all-pro. Nate Wiggins got his first pick, 26-yard pick 6. And Michael Pierce, the big fat boy, intercepted Bailey Zappi to end the game, basically. Fat boy. All right. With that, Baltimore basically secured the AFC North. Bengals Steelers 19-17. Steelers could have had something to say about that division title, but they failed. Okay? They are trash. One and done. Again. No offense. Defense is good, but only for so long. No adjustments. Pity pouty receivers. I love George Pickens, but boy, you're dropping balls left and right. You're saying that you're number 1. You're dropping touchdowns in a critical game to maybe win the division. Nothing. 19-17. This game was a hellacious affair. Like usually all AFC North games are. Joe Burrow went 37 for 46, 277, a touchdown and a pick. 4 sacks for 31 yards. Khalil Herbert, they couldn't run the ball worth a shit. 21 for 68, 3.2 yards a carry. Jamar Chase went 10 for 96. T. Higgins went 4 for 53. Jamar Chase had another touchdown. 14 targets. Mike Gesicki went 8 for 68 on 10 targets. DJ Ivy lost a fumble. Their defense gave them 4 sacks, played really well. 3.5 sacks by Trey Hendrickson. He just literally put the sack title on his back and just went forward, leaving everybody in the dust. Half a sack by Joseph Osai. No interceptions. 9-8 out of the playoffs. Why? Because the Broncos destroyed the Chiefs. We'll get that later. Russell Wilson, 17 for 31. 148. 1 touchdown. 4 sacks for 29 yards. Najee Harris, 12 for 36. Still can't run the ball worth the shit. Ran the ball 23 times as a team for 74 yards, 3.2 yards a carry and a touchdown. Awful. Pat Freiermuth was the only guy he wanted to catch balls. He got 11 targets, 8 receptions for 85 yards and a touchdown. Mike Williams got 1 target, caught it, 25 yards. Najee Harris got 5 targets, caught 4 of them for 20 yards. George Pickens, 1 catch, 0 yards, 6 targets, 4 drops. Calvin Austin lost a fumble. Their defense came up pretty good. Patrick Queen got a sack on a blitz. Keanu Benton got a sack. Preston Smith got a sack, and Nick Herbig got a sack. Beanie Bishop caught a pick. That was about it. So Bengals are done. Big questions for the Bengals. Plain and simple. Got to pay Jamar? No, you're going to pay him. What are you going to do with T. Higgins? And then, Lou Anarumo's gone. Who are you going to hire as a defensive coordinator? And what are you doing in the draft? That's it. For the Browns, let's go back to the Ravens-Browns game. What's next for the Browns? Number 2 overall pick, probably Shedeur. From what the rumblings are so far, people are liking Cam Ward more. That being Tennessee, it's the only team that's above him, above the Browns. The Giants potentially are still in line to get a quarterback if Minnesota lets Sam Darnold go or signs Sam Darnold and decides to trade JJ. If they see if they can trade JJ McCarthy would be the number 1 quarterback in this draft class if he was coming out this year. That's really not particularly close. So the Giants still have a shot of getting a quarterback if the Vikings want to do that. Texans-Titans 23-14. This is a feel-good. This was called a feel-good win for the Texans. Just bury their division rivals, make them 3-14, give them the number 1 pick. Davis Mills went 12 for 22. CJ went 6 for 6 for 50 yards and a touchdown. That was it to Nico Collins, a 141 rating. Then he sat down. Damian Pierce had a 96, had a 92-yarder in the first half. Kind of set him up for a 19-carry, 176 type of day, 1 touchdown, which was that. Robert Woods went 2 for 39 on 3 targets. Nico Collins went 5 for 38 and a touchdown on 5 targets. They didn't pass the ball much. 36 for 178, 9.9 yards a reception as a team. Not good at all, but it was the backup. Robert Woods lost a fumble. Their defense gave him 2 sacks, one by Mario Edwards Jr., the other one by Derek Barnett. No picks. And Tennessee was a shit show. Will Levis went 9 for 17 for 175. That was later after Mason Rudolph went 7 for 9 for 70. Will Levis threw a touchdown. They took a sack for 8 yards. Tony Pollard went 22 for 62. As a team, they went 32 for 85, 2.7 yards a carry. Awful. Calvin Ridley, 3 for 76 on 5 targets. Nick Westbrook-Akine, 4 for 50 on 7 targets. And Tay Martin, 1 for 49 and a touchdown of 49 yards on 2 targets. Will Levis fumbled twice, lost 1. Their defense gave him 1 sack. Harold Landry III, no picks. And Tennessee is over. Who are they picking? Probably Cam Ward as the number 1 overall pick. Texans have a chance with a home game because they won the AFC South. They have a chance at winning the playoff game next week. Not saying it's going to be easy because it's not. I believe it's against the Chargers. It is against the Chargers. Saturday, 4:30. In Houston, the Chargers are a 3-point favorite right now. The Texans do have a chance, though. They have a chance. Panthers, Falcons, an absolute shootout. Falcons needed to win this game to keep their hopes alive of winning the NFC South, but the Buccaneers beat the Saints. So that didn't happen. They lost in OT to the Panthers. Remember when I said Bryce Young might have a good game? Well, he did, accounting for 5 touchdowns, two rushing, three passing. Bijan had a great day. So did Michael Penix. It wasn't enough. This was a back-and-forth affair. A lot of 7-7, 14-14, 21-21, 28-28. Nobody got above 7-point lead all game. Bryce Young, 25 for 34, 251 with 3 touchdowns through the air in his season finale of his sophomore year. A 123.5 rating. Really looks like Alabama Bryce Young. Finally, the number 1 pick is showing out. The Canales offense is working. They look good. Miles Sanders went 17 for 66. They only ran the ball for 155 yards as a team. 30 for 155, 5.2 yards a carry, and 3 touchdowns. Pretty good. Bryce Young went 5 for 24 with 2 touchdowns. Jalen Coker caught 7 balls for 62 yards on 7 targets. Miles Sanders 3 for 50 and a touchdown on 4 targets. Adam Thielen 5 for 44 on 6 targets. Jatavion Sanders 3 for 35 on 5 targets. Tommy Tremble 2 for 30 and a touchdown on 3 targets. Xavier Legette in his rookie year find a finale, 3 for 30 on 5 targets. That's it. Miles Sanders fumbled, but somebody recovered it. Their defense gave him 1 sack. Jadeveon Clowney, that's all they needed. Michael Jackson caught a pick. As for the Falcons, Michael Penix in his rookie year finale after starting 2 games, 21 for 38 in his third start, 21 for 38, 312, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. 1 sack for 2 yards. Bijan went 28 for 170, averaging 6.2 yards a carry and 2 touchdowns. They ran the ball 38 times as a team for 227 yards, averaging 6 yards a carry. Drake London, 10 for 187 and 2 touchdowns on 18 targets. He's the number 1, clearly. Ray McLeod, 4 for 66 on 7 targets. Kadero Hodge, 1 for 24 on 2 targets. Kyle Pitts, 2 for 15 on 3 targets. Michael Penix was throwing some balls that were absolute lasers. Lasers. But was not enough. That defense let up too much to Bryce Young, and they could not close it out. Even with 187 from Drake London, 170 from Bijan, 312 from Penix, they just couldn't do anything about it. No sacks for the defense, no picks, just no stopping them. Shout out to the Carolina Panthers. They have a they're the 8th pick. Potentially could take the kid out of Arizona, the wide receiver. I think they need another weapon, but if there is a legit pass rusher there, if somehow Abdul Carter doesn't go for, Jaguars need a quarterback, so they're going to be looking. Raiders need a Jaguars might take Abdul Carter, pair him up next to Travion Walker and Josh Hines-Allen. The Jets might take him just because they like the ends. Abdul Carter would be a great addition to the Panthers to basically cover up for losing Brian Burns this past year, sending him to New York. As for the Falcons, a defense. Like all of it. Except the 2 safeties and A.J. Terrell. Justin Simmons, Jesse Bates, A.J. Terrell, and Arnold Ebiketie. Everybody else need a new one. Need a new one. Okay. Buccaneers Saints 27-19 Bucks. The number one thing about this game is that with 35 seconds left, I believe it was 35 seconds left. It was what was left on the clock, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just go here. 36 seconds left. They get the ball back on a turnover on downs. They're about to run out the clock. This is after they came back because they were down. Bucky Irvin runs it in for the go-ahead score to put them up 27-19. With 36 seconds left, all Mike needed to get to 1,000 again for the 11th season and only behind Jerry Rice's record of 14 was 5 yards. And everybody said it was risky, but you need to do this. This is what the Eagles needed to do with Saquon. They went for it. Little out route with 2 blockers, catch it, go up the field, and went nuts. No time left on the clock. Nobody can stop it. Got 9 yards, got to 1,003 yards, 11 straight seasons for the future first ballot Hall of Famer. Wonderful. Baker Mayfield, after a rocky start, played well. Spencer Rattler, 26 for 42, 240. A touchdown, no picks, 2 sacks for 12 yards. They ran the ball 19 times for 64 yards, 3.4 yards a carry as a team. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, CEH was the leading running back, 8 for 26. Juwan Johnson caught 6 for 80 on 7 targets. MVS 3 for 33 on 8 targets. Dante Pettis caught the only touchdown. Their defense gave them 1 sack coming from Nefis Sewell, which is, I believe, Penix Sewell's cousin. You had a Jordan Howden interception. And that was it for the Saints. The Bucks, Baker Mayfield, 21 for 32, 221, 2 touchdowns and a pick. 1 sack for 5 yards. Bucky, 19 carries on 89 yards and a touchdown. Mike Evans, 9 for 89 on 14 targets. Jalen McMillan, 5 for 74 and a touchdown. I mean, a beautiful sideline toe tap. Just a beautiful, beautiful ball by escapability by Baker. Runs outside to his right, moves up towards the line of scrimmage, and just delivers an absolute dot to Jalen McMillan, the rookie out of Washington. Really showing out these last few weeks. Going to be big in the playoffs, I believe. You had Devin Culp, 2 for 36. Payne Durham, 2 for 16 and a touchdown. Two targets. Jack Browning fumbled, recovered it. Their defense gave him 2 sacks. Vita Vea and Yaya Diaby. No picks. They got a little bit of a tough test. Commanders. This is going to come one or two ways. The Bucks are not only at home, but they're also the more experienced team. You have Super Bowl champions and Mike Evans, Todd Bowles, Levante David. I believe Antoine Winfield was on that team. They brought back Shaq Barrett for the stretch run. So you have legit Super Bowl experience, not to mention their position coaches and all that. On the other side, you have a phenom that doesn't fear nothing, that nothing puts him up and down, even keel. Ice cold killer. 12-5 versus 10-7. NFC East versus the NFC South in Tampa. Tampa is a 3-point favorite right now. I'm guessing that's the hometown discount. If you look at the rosters, defensively, definitely goes to the Bucs. Offensively, just because of Bucky Irving, I give it to the Bucs. Having Jalen McMillan and, of course, Mike Evans to the Commanders, McLaurin and kind of who else? Luke McCaffrey, De'Ami Brown, Noah Brown. Not really a certified number 2 there. Jamison Crowder. I'm leaning Bucs, but got to see how stuff plays out this week. Okay. Patriots beat the Bills. We talked about this. Joe Milton showed that he has legit power ability as a quarterback. Trubisky went 15 for 21, 101, a touchdown. Ray Davis went 15 for 64. James Cook went 10 for 28 and a touchdown. Curtis Samuel, 7 for 52 on 8 targets. Keon Coleman, 2 for 31 on 10 targets. Their defense gave him 1 sack. Von Miller hit the incentive. No picks. As for New England, they had Joe Milton play, 22 for 29. 241, a touchdown, no picks. Antonio Gibson, 12 for 41 on the ground. They ran 30 times for 77 yards, 2.6 yards a carry. Awful. Still won, though. Kayshon Boutte went 7 for 117 for a career high and a touchdown on 7 targets. Demario Douglas went 3 for 34 on 4 targets. Joe Milton fumbled and lost it. No sacks by the defense. No picks. This didn't affect Buffalo in the slightest. They sat everybody. This really doesn't mean shite. Joe Milton is the only interesting thing about this game. I believe he has legit ability. Arm is insane. He's clocked at the fastest throw in the combine at 62 miles an hour. Just need mechanics and need definitely better players on the outside to do anything with him, even though Drake May is your starter. So maybe you dangle Joe Milton in front of somebody. Possibly a higher draft pick. Even though you guys are 4th. Colts beat the Jaguars 26-23 in overtime on a field goal. Joe Flacco did pretty well. Mac Jones went 20 for 32, 225, a touchdown and a pick, 2 sacks for 19 yards. They ran the ball as a team 34 for 113, 3.3 yards a carry. Yikes. Tank Bigsby scored a touchdown. Brian Thomas finishes his incredible rookie campaign with 7 catches, 103 yards on 11 targets. He is the offense. He will be the offense moving forward. Their defense gave him 3 sacks, 1 by Trayvon Walker, 1 by Jarrian Jones, and 1 by Devin Lloyd on a blitz. No picks. Brian Thomas Jr. finishes with 87 receptions, 1,282 yards, and 10 touchdowns. Just an absolute stud. Just like his boy Malik Neighbors, both out of LSU, just like Justin Jefferson and Jamar. As for the Jaguars, actually, let me talk about the Colts first. The Colts, the lowly Colts. Joe Flacco went 23 for 40, 264 and a touchdown, 3 sacks for 12 yards. Jonathan Taylor carried the ball 34 times. That is insane. 34 times for 177 and a touchdown, along of 17 yards. Josh Downs went 10 for 94 on 13 targets. That's Joe Flacco's favorite target. Michael Pittman 6 for 72 on 10 targets and finishes the season with a broken back that he's played through. Pierce went 2 for 57 and a touchdown on 2 targets. The touchdown was the first touchdown of the game. No picks. No fumbles. Their defense, Zaire Franklin gave him 1 sack. Kwity Paye gave him another. Julian Blackman got a pick. That's about it. 2 teams that are not going nowhere. Where are they going? That's a good question. As for the Jaguars, they're 5th overall. I either suggest an offensive lineman. Maybe you fancy Abdul Carter. Maybe you fancy Kelvin Banks. You're not going to get a chance at Travis Hunter. You're not getting a chance at no quarterback. You don't need a quarterback. You just paid yours $55 million. So either you take a weapon in the guy from Arizona, or you take a left tackle or a right tackle. Not much else to do there. Not much else to do there. Really. If not, just take Abdul Carter and be happy with that. He's going to be a phenom. He's like another Michael Parsons. Giants, Commanders, Cowboys, 23-19. Mariota brought him back to make him the 6th seed instead of the 7th seed because the Packers lost to the Chicago Bears. But Jordan Love was hurt, so, we'll give him a little bit of slack. Not really. Should have blown him out. Should have been a game. Washington fights back after trailing Dallas for most of the game. And in the last drive, Mariota goes 15 for 18, 162, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 2 sacks for 25 yards, 141 rating. Jaden Daniels just played a little bit, 6 for 12, 38 yards, 4 sacks for 18 yards. That was crazy. That was Michael Parsons going nuts. Mariota also ran the ball, 5 for 56, being the team's leading rusher and a touchdown. Jaden ran for 27 yards. Terry McLaurin goes 8 for 62, then the game-winning touchdown with 3 seconds left on a beautiful ball by Mariota on 12 targets. Zacchaeus goes 2 for 51 on 5 targets. Zach Ertz goes 5 for 44 and a touchdown on 5 targets. Austin Eckler back, 2 for 20. Also ran it for 12 yards. They ran the ball 18 times for 113 yards, 6.3 yards a carry, but they didn't keep it up. Jamison Crowder lost a fumble. Jeremy Chin got a sack on a blitz, and Jonathan Allen got a sack as well. No picks. As for the Cowboys, Trey Lance goes 20 for 34, 244. 2 sacks for 16 yards. Rico Dowdle goes 22 for 72 and a touchdown. 39 for 150, 3.8 yards a carry. Yeah. Jalen Tolbert goes 4 for 98 on 6 targets. Kevontae Turpin goes 3 for 53 on 5 targets. And Jonathan Mingo goes 2 for 24 on 2 targets. Their defense gave them 6 sacks, 2.5 by Michael Parsons, 1.5 by Chauncey Golson, half by Osa Digizua, and half by Mozzie Smith, no picks. Washington is going ready to face the Buccaneers. We talked about that. Very, very interesting game as we move forward through the week. Final tally for Jaden Daniels on this Rookie of the Year season in my eyes. 3,568 yards, 16th best in the league. 25 touchdowns, tied for 10th. 9 interceptions. 70.6 QBR, 4th in all of the NFL. Okay. His completion percentage was 69%. Ayo, which is really, really good. And under pressure, he is absolutely incredible, as we know. All right. Giants Eagles 20-13. McKee played well. The only person to play well for New York was Malik Neighbors. Drew Lock went 22 for 29, 138, a touchdown and a pick. Tyrone Tracy went 14 for 59. They ran the ball 25 times for 100 yards, 4 yards a carry. Pretty easy math there. Malik went 5 for 64 and a touchdown, briefly holding the all-time record for receptions in a season for a rookie until Brock Bowers played later and broke it. Wandale caught 10 for 43 on 11 targets. Malik finishes with 109 catches, 5th most in the league, 1,204 yards, 7th most, and 7 touchdowns. Really incredible from this kid that nobody's throwing to. And a 12.8 yards of reception. Really good. Their defense gave him 2 sacks. Kayvon Thibodeau 1.5. Brian Burns 0.5. No picks. As for Philly and Tanner McKee, 27 for 41, 269, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Will Shipley, they ran the ball 25 for 51, 2 yards a carry. That's nothing. Jahan Dotson, 7 for 94 on 11 targets. Dallas Goedert, 4 for 55 on 6 targets. And Ice Smith, 4 for 35 and a touchdown. First one of his career on 6 targets. And then Will Shipley, 4 for 35 on 4 targets. Their defense didn't give him no sacks. Sidney Brown caught a pick. And that's about it. Philly stays in Philly to face the Packers. I got the Phillies. I got Philadelphia Eagles. Sorry, I'm getting confused with baseball. 4.5 point favorites are the Eagles as of right now on ESPN Bet. Packers are coming off a game where they lost and became the 7th seed. Not only that, they also lost Christian Watson for the rest of the postseason with an ugly leg injury. Okay? So I think the Eagles got this with Saquon. Jalen Hurts has not cleared concussion protocol yet. He did not play today in practice. So we shall see tomorrow. It could get dicey, and Kenny Pickett, I believe, is healthy enough now to play. If not, Tanner McKee making his postseason debut. That would be nuts. I would hand it off to Saquon 40 times. Eagles defense is better. Eagles team is just better. Bears Packers 24-22. Bears win on a last-second field goal. Christian Watson's loss for the season. Caleb Williams goes 21 for 29, efficient, 148, a touchdown, no picks. DeAndre Swift goes 20 for 65. They run 26 times for 83 yards, 3.2 yards a carry. TJ Moore goes 9 for 86 and a touchdown on 10 targets. Keenan Allen goes 3 for 25 on 3 targets. So Dunze goes 2 for 18 on 2 targets. DJ Moore lost a fumble. Their defense gave him 3 sacks, one by Byron Cowart, the other one by TJ Edwards, and then Kevin Byard on a blitz. No interceptions. The Packers, Malik Willis goes 10 for 13, 136. Why? Because Jordan Love got hurt. Let's see how he's doing. Packers head coach said Monday he thinks that is going to be okay. Not clear. He'll be limited to practice. Okay, it seems like he's going to play, Jordan Love. Malik took over 10 for 13. Was playing well, but, the Bears took over 3 sacks for 21 yards. Then Emmanuel Wilson went 14 for 73 on the ground and a touchdown. They ran the ball 33 times for 183, 5.5 yards a carry with 2 touchdowns. Pretty good. Chris Brooks went 8 for 59. Josh Jacobs went 6 for 44. Then they sat him. after he scored a touchdown. Malik Heath was your leading receiver, 3 for 53 on 5 targets. Dontavian Wicks, 5 for 49 on 6 targets. Jaden Reed, 2 for 48 on 2 targets. Malik lost a fumble, so did Jaden Reed. Their defense gave him 1 sack. Rashawn Gary. And Xavier McKinney catches his 8th interception of the year, so that ties him for that puts him firmly in second behind Kirby Joseph's 9. Bears offensive line, Kelvin Banks. That's what you got to do right there. Packers face the Eagles. I think that's a one and done season for the Packers. Seahawks Rams. Seahawks win 30-25. Geno hits 2 million each. Incentive bonuses. With wins at 10. Passing yards. And if I'm not mistaken, either completions or something like that. It was 3 different bonuses that he had to hit, incentives, and he hit them all the same day and walked away with $6 million in the bank extra. This was a pretty good game. Geno went 20 for 27, 223, 4 touchdowns, no picks, 137.8 rating. Nothing to play for, obviously, but they played well. Zach Charbonnet went 14 for 59. Kenny McIntosh 7 for 49. They ran the ball 24 times for 126, 5.3 yards a pop. Noah Fant was their leading receiver, 5 for 63 and a touchdown. DK went 3 for 53 and a touchdown. AJ Barner went 5 for 34 and a touchdown. All on 6 and 5 targets each. Jake Bobo caught 1 pass for 4 yards. A beautiful pass by Geno, back shoulder. And that was a touchdown. That was it for Jake Bobo. No fumbles. Their defense gave him 3 sacks, half by Tyrese Knight, half by Ernest Jones the fourth, and Leonard Williams got 2 of them. Julian Love picked it off for 7 yards. Jimmy Garoppolo, 27-41, 334, 2 touchdowns and a pick, 3 sacks for 15 yards. Ronnie Rivers, 12 for 48 on the ground, ran the ball 21 times for 84 yards, 4 yards a carry as a team. Jordan Whittington was 3 for 86 through catching the ball on 4 targets. DeMarcus Robinson went 3 for 72 on 6 targets. Tyler Higbee, 5 for 46 on 7 targets and a touchdown. No fumbles. Their defense gave them 2 sacks, one by Braden Fisk, the other one Byron Young, and the other one by Deshaun Johnson. No picks. LA, again, going to face the Vikings at home on Monday night. Very interesting game. I think the Vikings are going to come with a vengeance after that disappointing loss at Detroit. The Rams are going to have Stafford, Puka, Cooper Kupp possibly for the last time, Kyron Williams, Byron Young, Braden Fisk, Jared Verse. They're just a very young team. The Super Bowl champions on there is Stafford and Cooper Kupp, which would be a big help. But I'm leaning Vikings, and so is the market by 1 point on the road at SoFi. But I'm leaning Vikings. Dolphins, Jets. Jets win 32-20. Dolphins got to find new shit to do. Tyler Huntley goes 25 for 41, 227, a touchdown, 2 picks, 4 sacks for 28 yards. Devon Achane goes 11 carries for 121, averaging 11 yards a carry and a touchdown. Jonnu Smith went 9 for 56 and a touchdown on 12 targets. Malik Washington, 4 for 48. 5 targets. Jalen Waddle, 4 for 44. 9 targets. Tyler Huntley lost a fumble. Recovered 2 because he fumbled 4 times. Jonnu Smith also lost a fumble. Our defense gave us three sacks, 1.5 by Zach Sealer, 1 by Calais Campbell, 1 by Emmanuel Ogbah. No, half by Emmanuel Ogbah, 1 by Calais Campbell, and 1 by Zach Sealer. Tyrell Dodson got his first pick. I think it was his first pick. For the Jets, Aaron Rodgers goes 23 for 36, 274, 4 touchdowns, and a pick. He was like, oh, I'm mad at that. It doesn't matter. You're out of there anyway. Breece Hall, 12 for 57, 22 for 18 as a team, 5.4 yards a carry. Excuse me. Devontae Adams goes 6 for 88 and a touchdown on 12 targets. Allen Lazard's 3 for 71 and a touchdown on 3 targets. Garrett Wilson, 4 for 51 on 5 targets. Their defense gives them 4 sacks, half by Will McDonald IV, half by Hassan Reddick, 1 by Bruce Hector, and 1 by Javon Kinlaw. The Jets, they suck. They will continue sucking. They just either interviewed Rex Ryan or asked to interview Rex Ryan, their former head coach that now does ESPN on TV, Get Up in the Morning. We'll see what happens there. As for the Dolphins, we're keeping everybody, according to Stephen Ross. Chris Greer staying, and the GM, and so is Mike McDaniel. If you want them to stay, we need some toughness. We need some toughness against the elements. We need some toughness against adversity, and we probably need a different either offense type of quarterback. Something different, bro. We cannot keep going with this timing offense where everybody can time where they're going to be and basically shut down the offense. That is not what we're going to do. So somehow, some way, you guys better find out how in the world can we get better before Drake May passes by us. And now we're going to be looking at Drake May and Josh Allen at the bottom of the barrel. Draft-wise, offensive lineman, D lineman, D tackle to try to cover up for Christian Wilkins last year, sending him to the Raiders. Yeah, anything like that would do to me. We have enough skilled players. Maybe another corner. That'd be helpful. But I think we need D-line and offensive tackle because Teron's getting old more than anything. Raiders, Chargers. Chargers win 34-20. They lock up, I believe, the 7th seed or the 5th seed. I think it was the 7th seed. No. Let me check. They got the playoff bracket. Chargers are the 5th seed. Yeah, they're going to go against the Texans. Pretty entertaining game. At the end of the day, this is the Raiders. This is basically the Brock Bowers show. Really impressive showing from Johnston. Finally showing that talent that he had at TCU. 28 for 36 was Herbert, 346, 2 touchdowns, no picks. J.K. went 18 for 63. They ran the ball 35 times for 137 as a team and a touchdown. Quentin Johnston go 13 receptions, career high, 186 catching the ball, a career high on 14 targets. Ladd McConkey went 5 for 95 on 8 targets. So really good for the 2-star receivers that they have or trying to develop, especially Quentin. Darius Davis recovered a fumble. No sacks by the defense. An interception by Dayon Henley. Okay. That's the Chargers side of things. As for the red and black, Aiden O'Connell goes 24 for 34, 214, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Then Desmond Ridder goes 1 for 2 for 11 yards. Alexander Madison runs for 20 yards on 6 carries. They run the ball 12 times for 39 yards, 3.3 yards a carry. Pathetic. Jacoby Myers go 9 catches for 123 yards and a touchdown on 10 targets. Brock Bowers breaks the single-season reception and yardage records. 4 receptions for 50 yards, a touchdown on 9 targets. Trey Tucker 3 for 24 on 4 targets. Brock Bowers finishes with an astounding 112 receptions, good for third in the league of any position. 1,904 yards, tied for 8th, and 5 touchdowns. Absolute monster this kid has. Played with Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew, and Tim Buck to Boyle. Wow. Shout out to Brock Bowers. Always knew you were the steal of the draft, buddy. Always knew. Never doubted. Defense got 1 sack. Adam Butler. That's it. Next, we got Broncos Chiefs. We're not going to spend too much time. Nobody played for the Chiefs. 38-0, Bo Nix. Played pretty well. Carson Wentz couldn't do nothing. 10 for 17, 98 yards. I think his career is over. 4 sacks for 22 yards. 8 catches for 25 yards for Cameron Steele. Kansas City receiving was kind of weird. Nobody was really out there. Nico Remigio, Peyton Hendershot, Samaje Perine. Not a lot. Carson Steele ran the ball 8 times for 25 yards. Ran the ball 11 times for 27 yards, 2.5 yards a carry. You won't see that in the playoffs from the Chiefs. Remigio, the rookie, 2 for 48 on 6 targets. Hendershot, 2 for 25 on 2 targets. That was about it. The defense gave them 0 sacks, 0 interceptions. And then Bo Nix went 26 for 29, super efficient. 321, 4 touchdowns, no picks, 152.4 rating. Ran the ball 7 times for 47 yards. They ran the ball 43 times for 158, 3.7 yards a carry. They did not give up. Estime got a touchdown as well at the end. Their receiving stats were Cortland Sutton got 5 receptions for 98 yards. Marvin Mims 35. Marvin Mims Jr. Says you got 5 receptions for Sutton, 98 yards and a touchdown on 7 targets. Marvin Mims goes 5 for 51 and 2 touchdowns on 5 targets. He's been really coming on as of late. Vele caught a tip ball that should have been intercepted. He caught it in the back of the end zone. That's a touchdown on 4 targets and 50 yards. Their defense gave them 5 sacks, 1 by John Franklin Myers, 1 by Jonathan Cooper, 1 by Jordan Jackson, and 2 by Nick Benito, who finishes, I believe, with 16 for the year. No, 13 and a half. Third in the league. No picks, no interceptions. That was a blowout, basically. Both are going to the playoffs, so nothing much to say there. Broncos will be facing the Bills. That's a tough task. Bills are 8.5-point favorite, but they do have the defense to try to stop the Bills, I would say. But I'm still thinking Bills there in Orchard Park. Cardinals, 47-24 Cardinals. We kind of expected this. Nobody was going to play for the Cardinals. Are too decimated up front. Josh Dobbs goes for 29 or 43, 326 of 2 sacks, 12 picks. Josh Dobbs played pretty well. Ricky Pearsall went 6 for 69 and a touchdown on 8 targets. He looks like he recovered well from the shot. Patrick Taylor went 17 carries for 109. Team ran it 28 times for 138, 4.9 yards a carry, not bad. Chris Conley went 4 for 59 on 4 targets. Jawan Jennings 7 for 52 on 10 targets. Kyle Juszczyk went 2 for 49 on 3 targets and a touchdown. Ricky caught a touchdown. Dobbs lost a fumble. Defense gave him no sacks, no interceptions. Cardinals scored 47 points. Kyler went 25 for 35, 242, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Tony Jones went 4 for 55 and a touchdown along a 46. Michael Carter 17 for 43. They ran the ball 27 times for 151 and 2 touchdowns as a team. Trey McBride, another great season from the tight end, possible second team All-Pro. 7 catches, 65 yards, and a touchdown on 11 targets. Marvin Harrison Jr., 5 for 63 and a touchdown on 6 targets. Greg Dortch, 4 for 47, 2 touchdowns on 4 targets. Their defense gave them 2 sacks, one by Zaven Collins, the other one by Julian Okwara. 2 picks, Sean Murphy Button and Catrell Clark. These 2 franchises aren't going anywhere. As for the draft and where they're at, you have the Cardinals being the 16th pick. Not much down there. And then it wasn't the Bills. Who was that? Nobody knows. As for the Cardinals, 16 defense. Need probably another playmaker on the outside. Offensive line. Need a lot of stuff. And finally, everything that we were hoping for. Lions, Vikings turned into a blowout, 31-9. Aaron Glenn just destroyed KOC's offense by basically pressuring Sam Darnold on almost every single drop back, sending 6 and 16 plays. and basically just pressuring Sam Darnold into mistakes, speeding up his internal clock. He missed Jordan Addison on a touchdown in the flat, missed him, didn't pass it to him, threw it away to basically JJ in the back of the end zone 3 times. JJ dropped a touchdown, but it's Sam Darnold. What did he turn back into a pumpkin? No, but at the same time, what I'm thinking is that the stage was a little bit too big. Maybe he settles down and, handles business going up against, I believe, the Eagles. Go up against the Eagles. Yeah, this was the Jahmyr Gibbs game. Sam Darnold went 18 for 41, just awful, 166. 2 sacks for 24 yards. Cam Akers goes 6 carries for 65 yards. Aaron Jones was 10 for 45, 19 carries, 120 yards, 6.3 yards a carry. Maybe they should have ran it more, but they were down. Justin Jefferson goes 3 for 54 on 9 targets. Just couldn't get open against Amik Robertson, who he faced in high school. One-on-one all game. Jalen Naylor, 3 for 53 on 4 targets. Aaron Jones, 5 for 30 on 6 targets. Jordan Addison got hurt? No, he didn't get hurt. They just didn't throw him the ball. They locked his ass down. No fumbles. Their defense gave him 2 sacks, one by Jonathan Bullard, the other one by Jonathan Grenard. Ivan Pace Jr. caught a pick. Harrison Smith, the hitman, caught a arm punt, basically. But other than that, Jared Goff goes 27 for 33, 231, a touchdown, 2 picks, 3 sacks for 15 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs goes 23 for 139 on the ground and 3 touchdowns. They ran the ball 31 times for 178, 5.7 yards a carry and 3 touchdowns. And then Amon-Ra goes 6 for 77 on 7 targets. Sam Laporta goes 7 for 63 on 7 targets. Jameson Williams goes 6 for 34 on 8 targets. And then Jahmyr Gibbs goes 5 for 31 and a touchdown. Different type of speed, him and Bijan, when they hit the hole. Just explosive. That's why you call him Knuckles. Their defense gave him 2 sacks. Zadarius Smith and Al-Qadim Mohammed, but it was a lot more than that. They got QB hits on Darnold. They pressured him a lot. Alex Anzalone came back and really settled down that mid-back end of hook curl defenders and tight ends and, midfield. Like, he really shut that down. Played really well as a spy. Yeah, just kicked their ass, basically, and got the number 1 seed. Now Minnesota has to go to the Rams on Monday night. All right, that was NBA. That was the last week. It was a great season, historic season for the 105th time. You heard my MVP. You heard all my awards. Just a great season. Finally, the final stat leaders for the year are Joe Burrow, 4,918 yards, almost a 5,000-yard season, followed by Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith, and Sam Darnold. Rushing, Saquon Barkley, 2,005 yards, followed by Derrick Henry at 1,921, Bijan at 1,456, Jonathan Taylor, 1,431, and Jahmyr Gibbs at 1,412. Receiving, Jamar Chase, 1,708. Justin Jefferson, 1,533. Brian Thomas Jr., 3rd in the league. Incredible for a rookie, 1,282. Drake London, 1,271. And Amon-Ra, 1,263. Defensive leaders, Zaire Franklin of the Colts finishes at the top of total tackles at 173, followed by Budda Baker at 164, Robert Spillane at 158, Jordan Sherwood, I believe that's his name. No, Jamie Sherwood of the Jets, 158, and Roquan Smith, 154. Trey Hendrickson for sacks, 17.5. Myles Garrett at 14. Nick Bonito, 13.5. Kyle Van Noy, 12.5. Neil Hunter, 12. And interceptions, Kirby Joseph, 9. Xavier McKinney, 8. Marlon Humphrey, 6. CJ GJ, 6. And Byron Murphy Jr., first-time Pro Bowler, 6. NBA real quick, guys. The standings. Cleveland's playing out of their mind right now. They've won 10 in a row. Just really good defensive team, really good offensive team. Can't really say much. Boston doing their thing, 5.5 back of Cleveland, but still second. New York is 8 back of number 1, third. Orlando, even with the injuries, 10.5 back in 4th. Milwaukee, 12.5 back in 5th. Pacers, 13.5 back in 6th. Detroit, 13.5 in 7th. Atlanta, 8 and 13.5. Miami, 13.5, 9. Already looking bad. Chicago, 14.5 at 10. 2 games behind is Philly in the 11th spot at 16.5 back. Brooklyn, 2.5 back of them at 18.5. And then the game's over. Everything's over for Charlotte, Toronto, and Washington. Western, you got OKC, 6.5 games up on Houston, just going on a tear, 15 straight. Just looking like complete dominance. SGA looking like the MVP. Houston, 6.5 back in the second spot. Really good defense, really good young core. Love what Cam Whitmore, they're finally putting him in the lineup, and he's producing. I love it. Memphis with a hurt jaw. Half a game back of Houston. Denver's in 4th, 9.5 back. Dallas, 10 back. Lakers, 10.5 back in 6th. Clippers, 10.5 back in 7th. Minnesota, 11.5 back in 8th. Golden State, 12 back in 9th. And San Antonio, 12.5 back in 10th. Sac at 13.5 back in 11th. And Phoenix, 14 back. Then Portland at 18. And then Utah and New Orleans, no hope. All right, guys, that's been episode 166 of the Exec Talk podcast. I love you guys. Justin Verlander got sent to the Giants on a 1-year deal. We'll see what he does over there. Relatively young team. Hiroki Sasaki needs to still happen. There's still Alex Bregman still out there. So there's still Gavin Lux went to the Reds. From the Dodgers. So there's still a lot of things to happen in the baseball world, but, we'll get them when they appear. I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching and supporting. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Follow me on all my socials and hit the comments, guys. God bless you guys, and I love you. Leave you all with the outro.
Que todos quieren ser el chamaquito que no puede